Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Proline week, what is this? Week 14 edition already in the National Football League.
Can you believe it?
Wow, this season is flying. I'm Dave Koken. Jim Feist is here. Sean Hess joining us. The gang is all here. We've got a couple of good games to look at. But first, got some big news to tell you about, and that is from world champion handicapper Jim Feist. Jim, you have zeroed in on the game, NFL Game of the Year. Awesome track record on this over the years. And sounds like you're more than confident about this one.
Well, I've had a really great NFL season, Dave, as you know, and that includes the totals as well. Now, last week, stubbed the toe a little bit. I had a couple games that didn't go my way. Felt that I had the right side, just didn't work out. This week, I have my NFL Game of the Year. My 2013 NFL Game of the Year goes on Sunday. It's $100 online. You can get it for $25 with a guarantee. Winner the rest of the NFL regular season is free. I'm 13-4-1 going back the last 18 years on this NFL Game of the Year. And that includes the Chargers destroying the Ravens 34-14 in 2011. The Giants crushed the Saints 52-27. These kind of games. This is what I got going. I love this game. I have a large wager on this game personally.
Very large.
Yes, and I'm not going to say it on the air how much, but it's a big one. I love it. I think the spot's great. The
is it
team
more
is
than
great.
$100?
Slightly.
Slightly more.
You got to add several zeros. But folks, if you want this game, it's very simple. Special offer. Just call 1-866-841-1655. It's $100 online, but you make that phone call, you get it for $25. Call it often. Call it 100,000 times. 1-866-841-1655. You get this big game along with me. We will cash and we will collect.
All right.
Hey, Dave, should we try and squeeze it out of him? You know, ask him if it's a favorite or a dog, a home or a road team. Should we try and work it out of him here?
I would suggest
get him to give it up.
I would suggest you call a number. I mean, for $25 with a guarantee, you can't go wrong on this. Jim's had a great year in the NFL, and that NFL Game of the Year run is they don't lose many. Okay, so it's a real good play. I also am running pretty well right now. I always do it this time of year. I like the end of the season because I'm not a trend guy at all. I don't care about that stuff, but I am very much a stat guy, a metrics guy. And at the end of the year, you got a metrics database that's just not going to take you down the wrong path. Doesn't mean you're going to win every game, but there's absolutely no question that I'm getting on the right side of more games than not. I had a very good college football weekend again. The college basketball is off to an enormous start. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm winning at everything. My NBA has been garbage, and I'm playing very little NBA because of it. And the NHL, quite frankly, I can't catch a break. I mean, it's just it's just been a lot of bad luck. Fortunately, I don't play as many games in the NBA and the NHL. Most of my stuff is college football, the NFL, college basketball. NFL's been okay. The college football has been really good. And the college basketball, if there's anybody doing any better than I am in college basketball, get their plays, okay? Because they must be making a ton. I'm doing extremely well in college basketball. If you just play a flat one unit on every game I've released, the last 2.5 weeks since we got rolling in college basketball, you're already up close to like 20 units, okay? That's a lot. And here's what I got for this weekend. I'm going to take you through Monday. I'm going to give you 2 big games that I've got circled in basketball for Saturday. I know about where the number's going to be on these games. It's not that difficult to figure out. In fact, I'll tell you one of these days what they're using as the main guideline to set the lines. It's not that difficult. This isn't rocket science. So I know what the lines are going to be. You're going to get 2 big games in college basketball. I've also got 2 NFL under the hat plays coming up on Sunday. Again, these are great situations. Going to take advantage of them. Total cost, $19 for all 4 plays. These are going to put money in your pocket. I'll be shocked if they don't go at least 3-1. I think there's a real good chance they go 4-0. $19, 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Okay. We're going to look at a couple of NFL games. We always like to get our Twitter question or Facebook question of the week up first. And you want to follow us at Jim Feist Sports on Twitter or on Facebook. Follow us or friend us, I should say, at Proline TV. This is from Damon Jenkins of Fort Worth. Jim, this is right up your alley. I was in Vegas last month, and they have limits on how much you can wager on football totals. Why is that? Don't they want my money?
They want your money. However, I'm going to say this right out front. It's easier to bet, and it's easier to beat totals than it is to beat sides. And it's been that way forever. And for me, I do well at both. The totals are too soft, so books take less money. Some places won't even take total bets. So it is definitely easier, so they limit their exposure. And you're a businessman. I assume you're a businessman. If not, you understand that people don't like giving away money.
Right.
And a lot of places will give total lines and take total bets just as a concession because they don't feel like they can win. So they'll take $500 on the total and $20,000 on the side. That should tell you something. That should tell you that, A, they get enough action to balance their sheets on the sides, but they don't get enough on the totals. And they feel like they have a higher expectation to win with the sides, but they don't with the totals. So it's a pretty obvious answer, but it's a good question, and I'm glad you asked it.
It is, and I'll just chime in with this. They're in business. They're in business to make money. The casinos. I don't begrudge them this. I don't get mad at them and say, "Oh, you're not giving us a." They're in business. You can go in there and bet as much as you want on Keno. They'll take whatever you want on Keno. All right, because the odds are stacked in their favor on that. They're not on totals, particularly since and you look at this time of year in football. There's no way that you can't look at football and say, look, there's an edge to me. It doesn't mean you're going to win every game, but you can grab an edge just by following the weather forecasts. All right, you're going to win more than you lose on this if you get in the win games and play under. I mean, it just works that way. Well, again, they're going to let you win on this, but they're not going to let you win a lot. And in college basketball, they're really tightening up on the totals because they've gotten destroyed on them. They're not in business to lose money, Sean. So, I know people get upset and say, that's not fair. Yeah, it's fair. Welcome to business. Okay, that's just the way the world is. If you want to live in some fairy tale land, I guess it's not fair. But in the real world, it's fair, okay?
Yeah, and in fact, it's not just totals. I mean, NFL versus college football, just about every store will take twice as much or more on an NFL game than they will on a college football game because, first of all, there's only 32 NFL games. There's a lot hard, there's no secrets there. And there's about 300 basketball college teams or 300 college football teams that we can bet on. The total thing also, Jim, you probably remember some of this. I don't know if Dave is old enough, so this will be between you and I. But it seems like whenever there's been a scam from the 60s on, it's usually been in the area of totals, especially in college basketball. And I think we can make a few teams. We can mention a few teams that happened about 20 years ago. But it always seems like when there's somebody running some kind of scam, it's on a total side rather than on the side. And I got used to that back in the 50s. Yeah,
exactly. You want to do one recent memory, Tim Donaghy, he wasn't doing it on sides, he was doing it on totals.
On totals, yeah. For some reason, they always pick on the totals. So they really do watch the totals, especially in college basketball, like you mentioned, also in hockey. They look at those totals pretty close in hockey, especially when there's overtime games. So the question does surprise me a little bit, but the fact is differences in what they'll take is in every sport, NFL versus college football or basketball. But the totals, they always do look for the scams.
All right, let's check in with our man on the street, and then we'll get to the games. Jeff Stott from LVSS. Jeff is here with another free National Football League total. What do you got, Jeff?
Thanks, guys. Got a free total coming up in the NFL, but first, you can get the rest of December in football and basketball with Las Vegas Sports Services for $29. That includes the Bowls, NBA, and college hoops, along with my NFL mismatch game of the year on Sunday. Just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916. Your free play comes in the NFL on Sunday as the Raiders and Jets meet in New York. You're not talking about wide open offenses here. Both the conservative run-first attacks, as both teams' QBs have combined for more picks than touchdowns. And with both teams preferring the run, both run defenses are actually very good. Throw in the New York code and the fact that the Jets are 5-1 under the total in December. Look for a game with more field goals than touchdowns. Take the Raiders and Jets under the total. Once again, you get the rest of December in football and basketball with the LVSS for only $29. That will include the Bowls, NBA, and college hoops, along with my NFL mismatch game of the year on Sunday. Call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916.
Okay, Jeff, have a great weekend. Let's start off with the Colts and the Bengals. On Sunday, the Colts they haven't played as good a football lately, but they did kind of right the ship a little bit with a win over the weekend. The Bengals, they're not a flashy football team. They're very good, though. I don't think when people make out their list of top contenders to get to the Super Bowl, the Bengals aren't really on anybody's list. And yet, I don't think there's a single game that you go into and look at the Bengals and say, I got no shot there. They're a very capable football team. This is a good matchup. I mean, these two teams are probably both going to be in the playoffs. And who knows? It could be a preview of something more important later on, Sean.
Yeah, we're talking Cincinnati at home. Dave, I'm looking, probably 5.5. Looks like the line total pretty solid at 44.5. Two divisional leaders here in this game. Both teams at 8-4 straight up, and both teams have got every reason to play here. I don't see a flat spot. Indianapolis has a tiebreaker win over Denver, and even though they're 2 games behind, the fact is, anything can happen. Anybody who watched that Auburn-Alabama game knows in this business, anything can happen. Cincinnati also has a tiebreaker win. They have it over the Patriots. They have a better chance for a bye as a number 2 seed because the Patriots only have 9 wins. They're just 1 game behind. So they have every reason to show up here. How do you go against that home record that Cincinnati has this year? They're 5-0 straight up and against the number. The Colts, however, no slouch, and they seem to beat good teams 4-2 straight up and against the number on the road. It's tough to ignore those numbers at home. Look at Seattle on Monday Night Football. They just destroyed New Orleans. I don't think anybody saw that. So if I had to play the game, and it's not a big play for me, I'd lean toward laying the points with Cincinnati.
Well, I'll look at the total in the game, Jim. I'm looking at the forecast here. And again, this can change between now and Sunday, but I think you get an edge by doing this early. 33 degrees, good chance of rain, more than 50%, and double-digit wind. That's an under, okay? I mean, it's just is. And the thing is that if that weather forecast comes to fruition, this number is going to go down on game day, which means that the value probably will be out of it by then. It'll drop 1 or 2 points, and that's all you need to blow a bet in the NFL. But to me, I hate to simplify things and say, boy, just handicap off the weather. But you've got a couple of teams here that aren't putting up massive numbers of points. I mean, the Bengals are doing a decent job, but they're more a defensive team anyway. They're going to stop Luck to some extent. Luck has not been great in the second half of the season for the Colts. Indianapolis, meanwhile, they'll benefit from poor weather because they don't have a great defense. But this forecast to me indicates 43.5, 44 is a little bit high. I think the right number with the conditions probably 41 or 42. I can get 2 or 3 points of value. That's good enough for me, Jim.
Well, Dave, I agree with you. Anytime you can bet potential bad weather under early in the week, you have the right side of it. I mean, you can always come back on it later if the weather isn't bad, but here you have an indoor team in the Colts. They lost Reggie Wayne a couple of weeks ago. Quite frankly, they should not have covered against the Titans last week. They were very fortunate. Fitzpatrick just turned the ball over consistently, made a lot of mistakes. Backup quarterback issues. We have that all over the league now, where we have a lot of backup quarterbacks, and most of them are not playing all that well. Some like Foles are. But Cincinnati has a better running game than the Colts do. They're used to playing in bad weather because they do play outside. The Colts do not. The total under is it's the right side, whether you win or lose. It's still the right side. And I was looking at 44s, went up to 45. I'm looking at 43.5, with the under favored. So I think you're on the right side of that, Dave. The Colts, by the way, and I go back to what Sean said. I kind of disagree with you, Sean, in this case. The Colts have that division locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early, but they have 4 games left. But there's nobody going to beat them. The only rival they have is the Titans, and they've already beaten them twice. So the Colts have the division locked up. They know what's going to happen. They got the playoffs. Cincinnati does have a little bit of an issue. They have the Ravens chasing them. And so when you look at the motivation factor, Cincinnati has somebody on their tail, but the Colts do not. So there's a little bit of a difference in mentality.
I don't have numbers to back this up, but Jim, I'm pretty sure that when you've done an analysis on the game and Zeus has been barking in the background, you're hitting about 70%. Now, so take that for what it's worth. All right, listen, free plays. Everybody likes free plays. They didn't mention this, and this is worth mentioning. Since we started doing this on these text messages, and I've posted about 600, sent out about 600 free plays somewhere in that vicinity, because we've been doing it for close to 2 years now. And the record on these games, these are free plays, is plus 98 games figured in with the VIG. You're looking at about, if you just played a flat $100 on every one of the free plays I've sent out over the last, year and a half or so, a little more than a year and a half, you'd be up over $7,000 for nothing. Because we're talking about 70 units of profit. That's a lot of money for free. It's even if you're a small player, even if you're playing $20 a game, and you played these games, you have $1,400 in your pocket on free plays. So, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. All you need to do is this. It's just about the simplest process in the world. You have to own a cell phone, okay? That's the only requirement. You have to own a cell phone. Which, if you don't own a cell phone, then you're not watching this show right now, because you probably don't own a computer either. All right? All you need to do is text COKIN, COKIN, to 313131. And you get back a free play every day. You don't have to talk to anybody. There's not a long, there's not 2 paragraphs of text. I usually will put in one line that says, check out this special offer, etc. Free play is that. That's it. It's like a 10-second process, and you get the free play. So I don't know why you wouldn't do this. Text COKIN, COKIN, to 313131. And Jim, same story with you. Hit free play every day. It's the easiest thing in the world.
You're right, Dave. It is the easiest thing in the world. I don't know why everybody doesn't do it. Just text WINNER, WINNER, to 313131, and we will send you a free play each and every day right to your cell phone. It's just text WINNER, 313131.
All right, we're going to check in with our other man in the street, and he's probably bitching about it too because it's cold outside. John Cranton has a free NFL pick from Mr. Vegas. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, guys. Got a free pick coming up in the NFL, but first, Mr. Vegas steps up with 7 days of action for $15. You're going to get basketball and football. It's going to include his Mountain West Conference Game of the Year in football going Saturday, plus his NFL Dog of the Year going Sunday. Were you on Mr. Vegas's NFL Game of the Year last month? That was the Saints, a 49-17 blowout winner. You can get 7 days of action for $15, football and basketball from Mr. Vegas, including those 2 football games of the year, 1-866-896-1627. Now your free pick on Sunday in the NFL, got the Titans playing at the Denver Broncos. Now good weather is predicted in Denver, cold but not windy. You know what that means. Tennessee is going to get crunched. It's a long road trip for the Titans, the team that has lost 3 of the last 4 games. It's a conservative offense. That's a bad matchup against Denver. Denver loves to come out with a no huddle and go on the attack, get up 13-0 or 17-3. Well, that's going to force Tennessee to get away from what they want to do, run the football. They have a backup quarterback running the show now in Ryan Fitzpatrick. 8 touchdowns, 7 picks on the year. When the Tennessee Titans play a team with a winning record, 10-25-1 against the spread. Got a Denver team that's perfect 6-0 at home. They're also 6-1 against the spread against a team with a losing record. Very bad situational and matchup spot for the Tennessee Titans, a team that is 0-4 against the spread. When they play Denver, your free pick on Sunday, play the Denver Broncos. Now remember, Mr. Vegas has that special 7 days of action for $15. Basketball and football is going to include Saturday's Mountain West Conference Game of the Year and his NFL Dog of the Year going on Sunday. 7 days of plays for $15. 1-866-896-1627 or check out Mr. Vegas's plays at jimvice.com.
The Lions and Eagles are matching up on Sunday. I had a really, really irritating push on the Eagles on Sunday. I laid 3 minus 120. If it's 3.5, I'm going to try to get to 3. Okay, I mean, it's just such a key number. Well, I'm glad I did that because I got out of the game with a push. But Jesus, I mean, first of all, the Eagles have a 17-point lead in the game. They're up 3 late, and they're going to kick a field goal. They get stopped on 3rd down. It's 4th down. Not much time left. They're going to kick a field goal. They don't have any choice. And some zebra decides to throw a flag for holding on the other side of the field. It had nothing to do with the play. It wasn't even holding. So automatic 1st down because it was defensive holding and they ran the clock out and landed on 3. So that was an irritating push. But the Eagles are playing pretty good football right now. They certainly look to me like they've taken a step forward from where they were earlier in the season. And yet the NFC East remains so dicey in terms of quality teams. Yeah, here's the Eagles at home. I hate where this line is, 2.5. It just looks so easy to take Philadelphia here against the Lions. And, we know what the Lions are. They're a complete enigma. They have tons of talent, just tons of talent, and just don't always show it. Very inconsistent team. I question the coaching there. Philly 2.5, total 54. Weather forecast in the game, not all that bad. 38 degrees projected temperature, so, chilly, but certainly not overbearing. 50% chance of rain, not that much wind, only 8 miles an hour. So unlike the Bengals game, I don't think there's a real advantage to jumping in on the under, particularly with the 2 high-powered offenses here. When I see 2.5, I usually gravitate toward the underdog. To me, it's that's a first impulse thing. It doesn't mean I'm locked into it by any means. I'm not going to tell you that I won't lay 2.5 on a game on occasion. But my first impulse is it looks easy to bet the favorite there because it's less than 3. And so it's just a little bit of an edge on the Lions side. Here's a little more of an edge on the Lions side. They're better than the Eagles. And again, the dicey part of that is that they don't always show it. They're just such an erratic freaking team. But if you match them up talent, position by position, they're just better. The scary part of it is Stafford at some point, you just know he's going to do something stupid. I mean, he's guy's got all the talent in the world, but he's got that kind of Brett Favre mentality at times where he's just going to be a gunslinger out there, and it gets him in trouble because, you know what, he's not Brett Favre. He's good, but he's not at that level. And that to me is the scary part of this. I lean to the Lions, though. I do think they're the better team. I think when you see any of these NFC East teams get out of the division against a decent opponent, they have trouble. It's a bad division. The Eagles and Cowboys have improved, but I still don't trust either one of them, Jim. My lean right now is I'm not chiseling this in stone because I haven't finalized my NFL numbers yet, but my lean is to the Lions here.
Well, Dave, I understand where you're going. I don't trust the Lions. Jim Schwartz. I don't trust the coaching. They kill themselves with penalties. They kill themselves with turnovers. If you can't handicap turnovers, you got no chance in winning these games. And if I said to you, which quarterback is more likely to throw an interception?
Oh, wow.
Well, it's gonna, it's got, who it is. I mean, you got Foles on one side, who's having a remarkable run, 19 touchdowns, no interceptions. You got it just, there's no question in my mind. And I throw out, I'm not a guy that's going to go back and say, in the last 36 games at home, I don't care, because the players are dead. They're buried. They're gone. You got new guys. You got new coaches. All that stuff is gone. And it means absolutely nothing to me. You have two new head coaches here. Schwartz hasn't been a head coach in Detroit long, 4 or 5 years at the most. And Philadelphia's got a new guy, new system. You got Foles at quarterback, replacing Vic, which was a tremendous upgrade. Philadelphia, in my opinion, based on penalties, interceptions, coaching decisions, is the better football team. Not based on rosters. Rosters, I go along with you. But then you can go, you want to talk about one of the best rosters in football, you just go to Cincinnati. They have a tremendous roster, but they hardly ever perform up to their expectations based on skill position versus skill position. So it really comes down to who performs on the weekend. And, Detroit has never been a tremendous road team.
No. That's
been their history. And they're coming off division battle. That's a key thing, too. So I'm not in love with this game. I'm not going to say I'm not going to bet it, because I'm not one of those guys. I will bet any place where I have an edge. So I might bet everything, but it'll be proportionate to what I feel the edge is. I'll probably be on Philadelphia in this game, but it won't be large. And it's based on discipline. I think Detroit is the most undisciplined team. And although they probably will win the NFC North.
By default.
That's only because by default. You got Cutler out, you got Aaron Rodgers out, you got Minnesota who can't go anywhere. So they'll probably win by default. So you probably see them in the playoffs.
Now there is one edge here, Sean, that it does factor into it. Detroit's got an extra 3 days to prep for this because they played on Thanksgiving. You're a trend guy. Is there any particular edge of note coming out of these Thanksgiving days games for the teams that have the extra 3 days?
Yeah, let me respond to just a few things that both of you guys said. First of all, and you're right, you did the right thing with Philadelphia last week, but the fact is most of the players that I know of that had Philadelphia had delayed to 3.5. You were smart, got it down to 3 with that $1.20 thing, and it saved you. And you're right about the referee. I mean, the play was, 50 yards away, but that's the way the business goes. We've been in it long enough. Okay, first of all, a couple of things here. What a story in Philadelphia with this quarterback, right? I mean, that's a media thing, and they love that kind of stuff. But let's look at the numbers. First of all, Philadelphia 7-5 straight up. They are 6-6 against the bookie, which means the spread, and they will probably have to win the NFC East to get into the playoffs. I don't see them making a wild card. And right now, Dallas has the tiebreaker edge against Philadelphia. They're also at 7-5. Philadelphia has to travel to Dallas in week 17. Who knows? But their deal is they have to keep winning to keep up, to make that tiebreaker thing even important. And right now, Dallas holds that edge. Philadelphia, I know you don't like this kind of stuff, Jim, and I am a trend player, but I do stuff in the current season. But the last 26 home games, and that's a lot, and those guys aren't dead. Most of those players are still on this team. But in their last 26 home games, this team is 5-20-1 against the number, and this year is the same. They've covered one game against the number at home, whereas Detroit, even though they may have the quarterback that has more turnovers than this quarterback who hasn't been around long, Foles hasn't been around long, we don't know what he's going to be able to do. But Detroit, 3-3 straight up and against the number on the road. So they do show some resiliency as a visitor, even though in the past they haven't done that. This is a tough number. You're right, Dave, about the 2.5. We're basically trying to pick the number here. I thought the total was a little high. I thought it would come around 50.5 or 51 at the most, but it did come 54. I'm going to lean to Detroit plus the points in this game.
All right, let's get to some best bet action here. Sean, let's start you off. Either of the games we talked about or something else that stands out to you this weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm not a guy who's going to swim uphill. Seattle has taught me that this year. Cincinnati's numbers at home are just incredible. I think 5.5 is a little high, but I'd lay it before I take it. So I'm going to say Cincinnati minus the 5.5 would be the play for the show.
Well, I will stay in that game, and I'm going to go with the under. I think the weather forecast is of some note here. I also like that Cincinnati defense. I thought we saw what the Bengals ideally want to be last week in the San Diego game. Workmanlike on offense. Try not to have Andy Dalton screw things up. He's at best a game manager. He's just not that good. Okay? But play good defense, play smart offense, and get out of town with a win. That's what they want to do here. Colts offense hasn't been that good lately, and part of the reason is, Jim, you mentioned before, no Reggie Wayne. The running game is spotty. The Richardson trade is going to turn out to be a disaster for that team. A horrible trade. He was not worth the first-round draft pick. I like the game under the total. Under 43.5 is what we're seeing right now, Colts and Bengals. Again, look, I'm winning right now, big on the college side. And that's not hype. It just is what it is. So you got two big plays this weekend in college basketball. Also like the NFL schedule enough to release two under-the-hat plays on Sunday. I'm going to give you all four of these games for $19. And just $19, you want to get in on these and cash in while the going's really good. 1-866-896-1629. It's very affordable. You're going to get some good plays. I think you're going to make some money with this. 1-866-896-1629. Jim, look, it's as simple as this. If everybody's played your NFL game of the year over the last 2 decades, they have absolutely cleaned up. And here it is. Game of the year week is here.
Thank you, Dave. As far as games of the year, this one ranks right up there as maybe one of the best of the games of the year. The matchup, everything is perfect for me in this situation. I'm going very large personally on the game. I already have. And I'm advising you just to call 1-866-841-1655. Invest in $25. I don't believe you'll be sorry. Their guarantee comes along with it. You must win or you get the regular season NFL for free. As far as my best bets, I agree with both of you, actually. And I'm not trying to make it simple here, but I think Cincinnati has more to play for. They're playing well at home, as Sean pointed out. The under most likely is going to work. The weather should work in your favor, and you got an indoor team playing outdoors. That works. I like Andrew Luck a lot. They're going to make the playoffs because they're going to win their division. They're going to be one and done. They're not balanced. They don't have a running game that's strong enough. They don't have enough wide receivers. Andrew Luck can't do it himself. So maybe that's 3 plays for you. But in any case, make sure you make the call, 1-866-841-1655. It's going to be a good week. I'm looking forward to a monster cash. Make sure you make the phone call.
All right. I want lunch.
You got it.
This one, too. All right. That's it. Take him to Joe's Stone Crab. All right, we're done with the Pro
why not?
edition. But there's also a college football edition of Proline, and it's championship week in college football, so you want to make sure and check that out. Meanwhile, for Jim Feist and Sean Hess and John Cranton and Jeff Saad, we thank you for watching, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.